Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, and welcome back to our Perfection in 1 Year playthrough. We are into summer finally, and so things kind of pick up a little bit in intensity, but we have a pretty decent plan and hopefully it all works out. And so we'll start off like we normally do and go over our season goals, which are to finish the community center. We want to try and get a little over 3,000 starfruit just for a decent amount of money. Start our kegging operation. Fully set up our Ginger Island farm. And ideally we'll finish our hearts with 9 or more villagers. I don't know if that'll be entirely possible, but that's what we're striving for. And in this week in particular, our major things we have to do are manipulate the crop fairy, which I'll talk about much more in a second. We want to get the greenhouse, get our winter seeds planted, our first starfruit crop in the ground, pick up our special order, and then we just need money for our next starfruit crop. So that one's not as important. The other earlier stuff is very important. And that'll happen mostly tomorrow. Today we just are going to be doing a little bit of gifting, buying our seeds for the community center, and grabbing that special order request, which we'll hopefully finish today while we grind out some coal and then drop off a few items at the community center. So we're trying to buy a majority of the seeds we need from Pierre today, but only a few of them are actually important. The melons, the blueberry, pepper, and corn are the main things we have to have by tomorrow. The poppy, spangle, wheat, and what else? Oh, we need a red cabbage. All those things, those are kind of secondary compared to the items we need to unlock the greenhouse. And like I said, we'll get into that a little bit more tomorrow because we have to plant them, like all the seeds in very specific locations to guarantee gold stars and to guarantee a lot of like little things like, yeah, it's a whole mess. We're basically relying on a crop fairy to grow all those crops tomorrow evening in order to unlock the community center a little bit earlier. I don't know why, but my voice is cracking over and over and over again. So whatever. We got a new special order quest. Both of these ones are decent and would allow for a new recipe, but Fragments of the Past I think is easier to just knock out really quick. And I don't know, I just chose it. So we'll do it really quick today and have that turned in tomorrow or whenever it is that we go to the museum next. And then most of the rest of the day is just giving gifts. Unfortunately, this run is a lot of gift giving, and I know for me it's like the worst part about Stardew Valley because, I don't know, they always say the same thing when you give them a gift. There's really no changes. It's not particularly interesting to watch or to do, but it is a pretty massive chunk of the run, so there will be many days like this, and it's kind of one of the main reasons I want to get like 9 villagers done, because I don't want to gift everybody every week going through the entire game. And the less people I have to gift, the less stuff like this happens, you know, so the less you have to watch me gift. And I bought those coconuts from Sandy. It was not necessary in any sense, but they're good to have just for recipes and for Haley, so that's why I picked them up. And I also tried to catch a sandfish, which I need for the community center. I will also eventually need to come back here and get the scorpion carp, but that is very, very, very low on my list of things to do right now. Summer fishing in general is kind of low on the list today because we only need a red mullet, or red snapper, I believe, and a tuna and there's one other one, but they're all really easy to get ocean fish. And then probably a sturgeon, which is also very easy to get. So like, I don't have to really have it high on the list of things to do. I could just work it in the next week. Because basically what our situation is we're unlocking the greenhouse on the 3rd, hopefully. And from there, we'll plant the winter seeds. We'll have to wait for the winter seeds to mature. And then once those are mature, we should be able to unlock or finish the entire community center. So I have all that time to catch fish, to do all the loose ends. And then obviously I still need like a sunflower, I still need a red cabbage, but I'll have those planted today or tomorrow. And if the crop fairy doesn't get them, then whatever, but they only take a few days to grow anyway, so. We're on schedule for the most part. We should be able to get everything done in these next couple days anyway, without really stressing too much. And so yeah, that's what we're doing. Today is like, I don't know, today's probably one of the more relaxed days of the summer. Just because we only really had the one errand to do. This particular quest is really easy, and I can do it while farming dust sprites, so I might as well, spend the rest of the day inside the mines. Because I always need coal, and yeah, it's just an easy day. And tomorrow isn't also an easy day, I would say, but it's a frustrating day because of the amount of times I had to do it. And that's purely because of all the crop fairy nonsense. I do think it is like tremendously satisfying to be able to just like completely destroy massive amounts of dust sprites in one swing. It is a very satisfying part of this game. And then also, obviously, it's too late tonight to turn in the Bones quest, so we'll have to do it tomorrow. But, so today is like our really big day. Today is the day that the entire run depends on. And that's why I had so many resets on this particular day. It's upwards of 30 resets. And it's because of the crop fairy. And so the first thing you're going to see me do is plant all of those seeds I bought yesterday in a very specific spot. And that is because quality of crops is determined by location you plant them on the farm. And so I'm planting all the melons where they're guaranteed to be gold star, all the corn where it's guaranteed to be gold star if I harvest it tomorrow. And I have everything clustered together because I want to make sure if the crop fairy hits the center of those crops, it gets all of them and grows them all simultaneously. That's the basic gist of what I'm doing. I did actually screw it up, and that's why I paused and almost quit there, but I decided just to keep trying. I've already done this 30 times, and so I just went to Pierre's and bought another melon and the red cabbage, which I forgot. And so yeah, that's basically how that works. And I will get into real quick how the actual day is going to progress and how the crop fairy thing is going to work. So I had to clear all the dead crops and plant all the community center seeds like I mentioned. And I also had to buy all the starfruit and coal farm today. And I chose coal farming because it's something I can do over and over again. And if I have to reset, it's not that big of a deal because I can just do it again and there's not going to be rare drops and stuff like that. So that's our day plan. It's very simple. We did mix in a couple other little things like finishing the museum quest, but otherwise there's nothing too complicated. But so the reason I have to reset over and over again is because the crop fairy goes somewhere completely random. And I never know where it's going to land. And if it's even 1 or 2 tiles off, it doesn't grow all the crops I need it to grow, and then we essentially can't open the community center as early as we want. And so basically every time the day would end, the crop fairy would determine whether or not I had to delete the file and go back. And that's also the reason I destroyed all those dead crops. Usually I would leave all the dead crops until I was ready to plant the starfruit, but it turns out the crop fairy will try to grow the dead crops, so it expands the range at which it could land, basically. So there would be days when I would reset, or I would finish the day, and the crop fairy would land in the middle of my huge farm in an attempt to grow all of the dead parsnips or whatever. So that's why I cleared them, and that just means that tomorrow we're going to have to hoe a little extra land, water a few more places, so not a huge deal. And we did end up getting the crop fairy in the correct location, almost. It didn't grow the bottom portion of my crops, which is actually okay, because that was my like poppy, sunflower, I think red cabbage, like the stuff that wasn't as important. And then here's, like, this is kind of an example of it being just one tile off and missing the entire left-hand section of the crop. And it's very frustrating when that happens, because you have to play, 20 minutes over again. But it ended up working out, and this is what we ended up with. We have 2 crops that did not grow, but we got all of our gold star melons and all of our gold star corn, as well as our summer crops, which are the most important things. And so today all we have to do is plant our farm. We have to go re-hoe all the stuff that was unhoed randomly over the night. And it's going to take a while, so I kind of left this day open. And I was pretty sick of resetting after yesterday. And so we just have to do that. And we do have to do that goat milk thing we were talking about a couple episodes ago, where we have to animation cancel milk the goat to get a large milk. And I think we'll either do that today or tomorrow, and we'll finish up that community center, or the greenhouse rather. So yeah, this day is like almost a breath of fresh air compared to yesterday, because it's kind of a bummer when your entire day depends on one random event. And like sometimes that crop fairy wouldn't even show up. Other times it would show up in the completely wrong spot, and it was a very exhausting process. Like mentally. Because the actual farming wasn't bad. Like farming coal over and over again. It was just like, it all came down to a little 20-second cutscene. Oh, also a quick note. Our farm, or our oak resin farm, is very, very, very far behind. We are extremely far behind on oak resin. And we will struggle a lot with kegs because of that. It's like borderline going to kill the run that we are so far behind. Which is a stressful thing, but we're gonna keep going anyway. So hopefully everything's okay. And yeah, I don't know what else we're doing. We're finishing the greenhouse today, like I said. We have Jazz's birthday, so we have to do another little gift run. We're going to start a tree farm up north for wood and do the summer fishing I had mentioned previously. We have a lot of wood to grind out for the kegs, and we also want to plant some forage seeds just to boost our foraging level a little bit. And then we'll make some explosive ammo, bombs, staircases, and things like that in the event that tomorrow is a good luck day. It's not. It's a bad luck day. But we still prepared just in case. And, yeah, so we're making our tree farm really quick. This is like I'm planting all oak trees, which I can eventually use for oak resin if I want. Or I can just chop them down for wood. Both of those things will be equally valuable. And those are kind of going to be our bottleneck for the run. And yeah, so in order to process 3,000 plus starfruit, we need like, I don't know, 330 kegs or something like that. And that's a task that's a lot easier said than done. Oh, we're also upgrading our house. I completely forgot about that. We have to upgrade our house because we need to cook, what is it called? Not sashimi, but maki roll. And we have to have the upgraded kitchen to cook that, as well as the omelet or the whatever it is. And so hopefully that'll be done, what is it, in 2 days? And then we'll be able to be done with basically this entire island. And we can move on to Ginger Island. There's probably seeds that exist in the world where you can buy all of the winter forage items from the cart. Or you can do like, there's an exploit where you can make the cart have whatever you want. I guess they've decided to call it dynamic seeding, but what it is really just an exploit so that you can like change the contents of your traveling cart by putting in a seed name and like canceling it out. It's like kind of a convoluted process. It's existed for a very long time, but it's only recently become like an additional tool that people are using. I don't use it because it's like a straight up exploit, I guess. It's like the item ID glitch level of exploit. But yeah, technically you could do that to get all of your community center island or community center items early. But I did not opt to do that sort of thing. And then we repaired this bridge, which it wasn't necessarily something I had to do right now. I did need coral and sea urchin, so I suppose I had to. It's just expensive. 300 wood is kind of painful. I think that's like 10 kegs. But we also had to catch the crimson fish, a tuna, and I think a halibut. So we might as well unlock it and try to take care of it. And I guess there's our crimson fish right away. I was kind of surprised that I caught this as quickly as I did. This is usually one of the fish I struggle a little bit more with. This one, the legend, and the glacier fish are probably like the 3 hardest. I think the glacier fish might be the hardest of the 3. And well, I guess I have that one left still. But I probably won't catch that until wintertime. I think I'll save... Oh, my voice is absolutely driving me nuts. I think I'll save most of the fishing until winter, because I can just use magic bait and get everything I need. And... oh my goodness, this is really bad. And I also just have so much more to do that fishing is very much... wow, I don't know what's going on. Fishing is very much an afterthought right now, so... I don't know if I'm getting sick or something, but my voice is just cracking every like 2 seconds. At some point I'll go through all of my relationships and scroll through them slowly, so you can actually see like what my levels are with everyone. I'll try to do that. Well, let's see. Maybe I could do that today. I just have to find a spot in the video where it makes the most sense. I've developed a habit in these runs where I just don't pause very often. I don't edit out pauses most of the time. I find it easier just to not pause. And I don't know, it's kind of like, it's good and bad. But I don't know, I kind of like to just do the day as quickly as possible without pausing at all. It just makes it feel more smooth. and less like stop and go. Because otherwise, like, I don't know, it's more of a pain to edit, I guess is the main thing. But, I don't know, I just don't feel like you have to pause that much. As long as you can remember what you're supposed to do, or just have notes. And I have pretty intensive notes for every single day. Like my notes are like literally in some days down to like, you know, the order of NPCs I visit, the time I should finish visiting the last NPC, and if I don't hit that time, I just restart and try it again. So like, that kind of keeps me from having to pause as long as I can glance over at my other monitor. And yeah, that's that. This day was like pretty successful overall, I would say. We caught all of our fish we needed pretty fast, and we still had enough time left over to do a little bit of work on the farm, which is mostly just planting those foraging seeds. They're not entirely necessary, but it will help us get higher quality forageables later on, and it's just good to try and boost it while making seeds is cheap. Making summer seeds only costs 3 forageables, whereas winter, fall, and spring, it costs you 4 forageables to create them all, so you might as well take advantage of the summer recipe and get all that done. So, and this, I left this in just because this is normally what I do the night before I want to go to the Skull Caverns. I just try and like make as much ammo as possible, a couple bombs, grab all the stuff I need, so that in the event that my luck is good in the morning, I can just go straight to the caverns and not have to do any inventory management and just jump straight into it. I also somehow remembered to get my magic rock candy, which I never ever do. And there's our greenhouse, and we got rain too, which is actually like, it's probably a good thing that our luck wasn't good, because we need this rain to go catch the very last remaining summer fish. And then everything I sold right there is mostly just random junk to try and get a little bit more completion percentage. And we'll get a lot more in depth with completion percentage probably at the end of summer. Right now it's like 1%, so it doesn't really matter. But later on it will matter a lot more, and we'll get into it. So today we just have to plant those winter seeds in the greenhouse with Deluxe Speed Grow. We're going to plant our rare seeds and starfruit in the greenhouse. We have another gift run, which I know is exciting. The rainy fish I had mentioned. And we're going to try and clean up our farm just a little bit, because the southern portion of it is a little bit neglected. It's kind of overgrown, and I don't know, it may have been kind of hard to see there, but I completely screwed up the I just completely messed up the greenhouse. I put the sprinkler in the wrong spot, so the entire right side of my crops are not going to get watered, and I'll fix that probably tomorrow, but it's annoying that it happened. It's like one of those little mistakes you don't realize until well after the fact, and by then it's too late, obviously, to do something about it. And then I'm just doing the normal thing I always do, of just giving people stuff. I got some crispy bass at the inn the other day for Jody, because she's kind of a hard gift person. And other than that, I don't know, gifts are boring. Every single day I do empty these crab pots, because I need to catch one of every ocean crab pot animal. I think by this point I might have all of them, but I don't know. I know you need a lot of them for recipes, so I try to make it a habit. If I hit the beach, I empty those crab pots. And then, I caught some red snappers, and I got the halibut as well. And that's, I think, this fish right here. Yeah. And so we're good on fish. I think that was our last fish we needed, which means we can finish that portion of the community center. And so right now we're only really waiting on... What are we waiting on? We're waiting on winter seeds. I think a sunflower and a poppy. Oh, and cooking. We have to cook the maki roll. So the bulletin is pretty much the last thing we need. That will actually be a really nice item to complete. And it's the one thing that's nicer about a community center run compared to a Joja Mart run. Because I believe you get an extra 2 hearts with everybody. I could be wrong about this, but I think you get 2 hearts with everyone for completing the bulletin board. Which, if that is the case, which I'm like 90% sure it is, it's so much more valuable than anything else. Because those 2 hearts, that's so many gifts and so much time spent doing this. And so being able to save that is very, very nice. Oh, there's our fried egg. That's pretty nice. So we don't actually have to cook that. We still have to cook the other item, so it's not really... It doesn't really matter. But, I don't actually know if I have any eggs, so that could have been a problem. I don't think I do. Maybe I have a chicken. At some point I should have bought a chicken, but I don't know. Oh, there it is. I just got it. So here's the friendship I was talking about, and you might have to like pause on the screen to see my current standing with everybody. But this is generally the situation I'm in right now. Nobody's that high. Everybody's relatively even. And the people towards the bottom of the list are typically the people that don't, or that haven't had birthdays yet. And that's why they're so low. But otherwise, that's just like a quick overview of my hearts with everyone. Haley being the highest, I think. And a couple other folks that are way up there. Like, I want to say I should be able to finish the spring birthdays as far as full hearts and the summer birthday people this month. And today is actually, today's another easy day. I was saying how like intensity picks up, but it actually kind of doesn't, because today is Skull Caverns Day, so it's a really easy day. And I didn't even put notes for what I'm going to do today, because all I'm doing is going to the caverns and getting iridium. And these are by far the easiest days in Stardew. They require no planning, really. Just exploding stuff. And that's it. It's just nice. It's a nice break from having to like plan out anything you do. I still probably played through it a couple times just to get, a certain threshold of iridium I wanted. But otherwise, this is a nice vacation, so to speak. It kind of makes me miss money runs. Because doing like a, 20 million in 1 year run is like, I would say like, for me, like 100 times easier than trying to balance relationships and money and community center and all that stuff. So this just kind of feels more like one of those runs. And it's also just really satisfying to blow up like, massive amounts of iridium, and yeah, just, it's good stuff. It was a very relaxing day in comparison. And it's just such a small percentage of these runs. But they are nice here and there. I do have to make it a habit to go to the Skull Caverns once or twice a week. Just because, like, that starfruit I'm planting, or already planted, is really, really expensive. It's, what did I plant? 1,000 of them? And that's, well, something close to 1,000. At least the next one I plant will be close to 1,000. And that's like $400,000. So it's quite a bit of money. And it would be nice to be able to get it all in one fell swoop. I don't know how that, let me see what the math is on that. What is it, 400,000 divided by 1500 basically. So 266 bars, which is, 1300 iridium. So yeah, 2 runs in the Skull Caverns is pretty much required every 9 days, I think is what it is. And so I guess that makes the Skull Caverns runs a little bit more, not frustrating, but a little more stressful. But they still feel pretty nice. Like that was kind of a low iridium day. It should have been probably closer to 600 or 700 iridium, especially with a rock candy used. But it's, it's still fine. It still worked out just fine. And I guess that leaves us with only 1 day left this week. And it's another one of those days where we have a lot to do, and a lot of those things are gifts. So it's a little bit of it's a pretty big chunk of the video. But it's some of the more like menial tasks, I guess. And we have our big house at least, which will mostly go unused. It's mostly just to cook the maki roll. And another really bad luck day, we have our recipe, and we also have our sunflower and our poppy. So we have to fix our greenhouse that we screwed up, like I had mentioned last time. We're going to do our gift run, plant some more trees, chop some more trees, finish our fish tank bundle so we can get that panning unlocked, start farming more hardwood for the boat. And I don't know why I decided to mention it, but as usual, we're always smelting. Pretty much anytime you see me do anything, there is something being smelted back at the farm. And it's just something you have to always do. I always need copper, I always need iron, I always need iridium going. Gold, not so much. Gold seems pretty low value, but there are many times I need gold as well. So anytime you see me running around, you can pretty much guarantee that there's something smelting at the farm. And I just don't really show it that often, but it's happening, I guess. So that's that. And I'm just running around giving gifts. A lot of prismatic shards for the most part, but I try when I can to give, the unique gifts. So I had to buy the rice today in order to make the maki roll. I kind of wish, it would have been a good day to buy all of the cooking supplies, just because I'm already down here. But I suppose it's not a huge priority, because we won't be doing most of our cooking until probably late fall and winter. The cooking, I'll warn you now that when I cook, it is very unorganized, and it'll probably be annoying to watch, because the best way to do it obviously is to go down the list, put everything that you are going to cook inside the fridge, and just click everything as you cook it. That is not how I cook. I just grab things randomly and cook. It takes ages, it's disorganized, it leaves a lot of room for error. But that's just what I do, and it's too late. So I guess I apologize in advance for what I do. So I guess there's a little bit of me smelting. And here's me cooking as well. What's one of the most frustrating things about the any fish recipes is it pulls the weirdest fish from your inventory. If you have one fish in your inventory, it will grab it. But in my experience, if you pull or if you have 3 or 4 fish in your inventory, it feels almost random which fish it grabs. And I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's it grabs whatever fish is furthest to the right or something. but it always feels random, and it always feels like it's the fish you don't want it to grab. But yeah, there's our fish tank. And so we're kind of like in a waiting game, I guess. We're just waiting for winter seeds, and we're also waiting on a truffle. I don't know I think we have an adult pig, or we don't quite have an adult pig, but in the next couple days we will. And that will get us our truffle. And then we kind of don't have to think about animals for a really long time. We'll need more truffles for crafting recipes. We'll need another duck for duck mayonnaise. And we'll need one of each chicken for the 2 different colored eggs. But otherwise, we don't really, what am I doing? Why am I in here? Why did I go in there? Anyway, I think I'm just looking for a little bit of iron. And, I don't know what I was saying. Oh, I need some chicken eggs. There's like some things we'll need for recipes and all that, but that's, not that important. Right now, the things that are the most important are getting money. That's really the only thing that matters. We need money. We need it very badly. And hopefully we can make it happen. We're going to have to shift our strategy a tiny bit just because our keg situation is bad. We are going to have to probably rely on radioactive ore. And radioactive ore is a very tedious process, but it's a very lucrative process. You could probably make around 300,000 gold a day by just farming floor 1 of the dangerous mines. And so it's pretty likely we're going to spend a lot of time doing that to make up for the money we're missing from kegs. So yeah, that will happen. So be prepared for that. And I'll talk much more about it once we're actually doing it. But for now, that pretty much wraps up our first week of summer. And next week, I think we'll be getting into Ginger Island. Or we'll at least be getting close to Ginger Island. And I'm preparing once again for Skull Caverns if we have good luck tomorrow. We'll probably go if it's a pyramid luck day. But who knows? And there's our glittering boulder cutscene. We will not pan very much. I'll probably pan once or twice, but it'll be rare. And I'll see you next time.